So the participants are increasing.
1 minute and we can start.
What?
1 minute and we can start.
Yeah, 1
Yeah,
minute.
sure.
We can start. Yeah. To talk about the future of touch. That's the subject today. Yeah.
Bright future.
Bright future. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing at least. Yeah. This last minutes are the number of people are increasing and checking in through Zoom. You gonna say anything?
No.
No. Okay. Hope everyone is safe in their countries. We are streaming this globally. The number of attendees are about 200 today, at least the people subscribing. It's typical that there are some drop-offs and some people will forget or happen something or the email just didn't came and I forgot the date. But that's normal, happens. For sure, it's gonna be worth time to spend this next minutes. We will try to get this about 1 hour in total. We're gonna split this in two, which we're gonna start discussing here. Some of the reality we are seeing on touch, and then the idea is to let everyone share their worries or their questions, and let us know what we can answer. Yeah, I think yeah. Just wait a minute, 1 minute more, and then we kick off. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Everybody's joining now. Hope the sound is good for everyone. We tried several times before, so to make sure this was streaming with quality. So hopefully everything is good. So sound is good. This is the feedback we get. Hi Tom, in the US, everything's good with you, and I hope so. Yeah, and with everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give it a start. It's
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
be
we can
slow
give it a
and-
start. Yeah. So the name of the webinar is exactly the future of touch. So what are we seeing is exactly the idea is to share what we are seeing. We have today here with us four directors at Displex, and we're gonna try to share what we are seeing, what's the demand we are getting from customers, why we believe on what we are doing, and what we are foreseeing for future. And our intention is here to share openly in a talk conversation, openly with our opinion, and also to have your questions.
It's
Okay.
actually what we usually do between ourselves, but bring it to everyone else, so you
Streaming
can
it.
also join the conversation. We discuss this often, so it's the idea is to bring everyone, and if you have some questions, we will be gladly just to answer to all those questions as we go along. But it's to have one regular conversation as we usually do. Yeah.
It's a broadcasted conversation that
Between
we
us.
usually
Broadcasted,
have
Lucky
Yeah.
us.
Physically is that.
during
Yeah.
the weeks. Okay.
Good. So maybe before we go, it would be good for everyone to present himself. So I'm Miguel. I'm one of the founders of Displex. So some time ago, indeed, has been some years, but Displex is still very exciting in terms of what we are doing. Because many years ago, we started this in 2004. In 2004, we didn't thought that touch is going to be this relevant as it is today. But in 2006, 2007, definitely we saw the opportunity and that everything was going to be touch, and that's why we invested on those blocks and came up with a product line that we are really proud of. So I'm Miguel. Then we have Pedro.
Hi there, I'm Pedro Marques. I'm the CTO at Displax. So I'm at the Research and Development Department, and where everything starts rolling out.
Yep.
So the guys behind the scene that put everything, the magic that put everything together. Hi everyone. Welcome. My name is Nuno Fernandes. I'm the Chief Business Officer at Displax. I'm joined the company already maybe 11 years, almost 12 years. So I'm responsible to coordinate a sales team that helps our customers around the world to come up with the solutions using our technology to best serve their customers.
Hi guys, I'm Vitor. I'm the support director from Displax. Many of you already have some kind of interaction with me in the past. So I've been in Displax for the last 12 years. So also since the beginning of Displax, a long time ago. So I hope you all enjoy this time we are going to have now together here, talking about the future of touch.
So as you guys can see, we have been discussing this for a long time. So we are here for a long time, and the touch and large format touchscreens is still very exciting. Why Pcap? Because Displax could have done something else, could have come up with different touch technology, but indeed at the time we understood the best touch technology was going to be Pcap. One of the reasons at the time was that consumer electronics was going in terms of touch, like iPhone was in 2007. But before that, we already were using Pcap, and that was the technology that in outdoor, that was the only technology that people could use, and the only technology that could really be used because it was anti-vandalic and it was allowed to pass through glass. But all these years have been growing the Pcap from outdoor to indoor, and indeed for a touch technology, Pcap or projected capacitive touchscreens still very standard, still very dominant, and I would say the last years have been even more dominant than before. And I think the future will even bring more interesting
I think so.
stuff.
As far as I remember at the time, we have chosen Pcap because if you look at the infrastructure needed to install a touch system, a touch sensor for Pcap is more scalable, is more flexible than other systems like IR, SAW, for instance. SAW, so surface acoustic wave touch systems. Besides that, considering we were working and we are still working largely with integrators for outdoors, especially, this is one of the advantages of Pcap as a non-exposed technology, okay, where you don't have direct contact with the sensor
because it's on the back of the glass.
So
right?
it's behind the cover glass. Okay, so you don't touch directly on the technology like a resistive technology.
I still remember the first times that that people would see the technology. It was really like that wow effect. That wow, you can actually interact through the glass and interact on the other side.
So it's protected. It's a protected technology, physically protected. where you don't have it on resistive technologies, even IR frames or overlays, where you need to expose the components of the sensor so it can detect the touch.
Yeah.
You have here an anti-vandalism feature on the Pcap technology.
Because you don't effectively touch the touchscreen, you touch the glass, and indirectly you're going to be activating the touch.
And you can see another added value here, which is there's one major concern, especially in public places, if the glass or the cover glass breaks. So if you have a sensor already glued behind the glass, even if the glass shatters, it won't spread out, or the shards won't be exposed because they will be already glued.
Because
so
the
somewhat like a laminated glass.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
it's the same effect.
Because the touch technology is a film, and it's laminated on the back of the glass,
Exactly.
and sticks the glass to the touchscreen.
Yeah.
And our glue is really, really strong, so it will for sure secure the glass.
Yeah.
Also, another point that you can say, Marks, is the fact of the maintenance itself. It's much easier to maintain a Pcap touch model than an IR, for example. And even cleaning and everything, so it's much easier to do all of those maintenance tasks.
Because as the sensor is behind the cover glass or the cover layer, let's say, you don't have any bezel. Okay, so you can clean it easily. So
glass to glass.
Just like a regular window or a regular glass table or something like that. At the very end, you can use a squeegee or a mop or something like that to clean it. Vitor will talk about that later, I think. And besides that, we have here the one thing that's most interesting, is of the most interest for the viewers, which is having complete freedom on the surface. So you can have with that the design you want, the sleek designs, even hard finishes, or even curved surfaces. So more spectacular.
So could
designs,
we say that touch technology should be Pcap because it's more protected than other touch technology?
Yeah, it's a non-exposed technology. You don't have bezels, so it's a flat surface for tables, for slick designs on kiosks and so on. Also, if you're using on a table, you can accidentally spill some liquids or something like that. It won't affect the technology itself, okay? Unlike other technologies that have exposed components to it, and if they are electrical, well, that's some security issues over there. And it's easier to clean because at the end it's almost like a regular window. You can clean it.
So we could say that for
a flat surface.
For today's worries on cleaning, that's something that people are also looking at.
For sure.
For sure, Pcap is a best solution than others because the technology is not exposed. It's one flat front glass, and you can customize the design you want.
Besides that, again, being a non-exposed technology, so non-exposed as for anti-vandalism purposes, but also for outdoor systems, you can control it better, the temperature it is working, if you can control the temperature inside the kiosk or the system that you're assembling.
So to Miguel's point, it was then quite easy decision because you could combine the functionality of having everything protected behind the glass. You can even take the units outdoor to harsh environments, but you can also mimic the aesthetics of these gadgets that we all have.
And more with Pcap sensors, you have, at least in our case, you have more flexibility on the form factor that you can have the sensor, rather than
curved
an overlay sensor or something like that. You can have curved, you can have curved sensors, you can have round shaped, you can have stretched ones, and the larger the sensor is, the difficulty to fine tune it it's lower. The difficulty is lower on Pcap than on other technologies.
So actually able to have precision even on larger formats in opposition to other technologies. That's
and even because of environmental changes like temperature, like bending.
The bending is the biggest issue.
The structure
normally.
itself, if it bends, the larger the system is, the more it might bend. Okay.
Pedro, you have been working on Pcap for a long time, right?
Since 2006.
Yeah, really.
So,
As you are in the development, and as you are particularly deep on Pcap, do you see Pcap in future with novel things
sure,
coming up?
sure. One thing, technically speaking, Pcap works with electromagnetic fields.
Yeah.
So, like radio frequency components. Okay. So it's almost natural, and it's easy. It's a lot easier to combine it with other devices like markers, objects, radio
Pens?
frequency, like stylus or pens, than with other technologies that use like IR that uses light. Okay, if you want to use an IR sensor with a marker, even an electrical or electromagnetic marker, you need to have more hardware to it. Okay?
So you see future for Pcap in the long term, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
in the long term.
Great.
In the long term, we're working on it, and we have something that will come out.
Great.
In the near term, let's say.
Great. Before we move to the next topic, which is what many people are wondering, especially the ones under lockdown, is like what's going to happen with touch. And before we go to that subject, there are two questions that Anna Servant is asking about. I just want to tell you that we're going to answer on this in about 15-20 minutes. We're going to start the discussion, and on Sina question is if a PowerPoint presentation, if there is a PowerPoint presentation for today. So there's no PowerPoint presentation. We really are discussing openly and with our own opinions. It's a live talk. But this is going to be recorded, and it's going to be available on YouTube link. We're going to share with you on our social media and on LinkedIn, on everything.
I would like to answer Anna Servant, if possible.
We could do it when you start the discussion. Yeah, good.
That's fair.
So one of the elephants in the room that everybody is asking is what's going to happen with touch. Is it a worry? Is it not a worry? What I see in here, particularly as we are headquartered in Portugal, in Europe, right in front, what do we call, right in front of New York, but in the other side of the Atlantic, we are no more under lockdown. We are back in normal life, and we honestly we are seeing people desiring to get back their life. So if we totally understand that, it's obviously a worry, because anything that I need to touch should be a worry when we are in a virus situation. But now that the things are moving away, unfortunately, and it will happen all over the world, indeed, people are going back to their life and touching on touchscreens, and that's normal, because it brings a lot of value, the fact that I can naturally access information. So what are you guys seeing on this subject?
I feel the same. Either on outdoor kiosks or in shopping malls, I see people touching naturally without any fear, obviously having the normal caution when doing disinfection of the hands and everything. But if you take all the cautions, the touch is the only, in my opinion, the only natural way to interact with the screen. So I have been feeling that people are not being scared anymore of interacting with the touchscreens. Do you feel the same?
I feel exactly the same. I think that it was part of this kind of worry. It was normal because it was everything. It was new. It caught everyone by surprise.
We
but
were questioning everything.
yeah, and even us, we questioned everything in the beginning. I remember like 2.5 months, start looking, okay, what would be the scenario? But in truth, if we look to when you are engaging, for example, when you are going to a store or when you are going to a restaurant, it's much easier and just better and safer to actually engage with a machine, with a self-ordering kiosk, for example, in a restaurant to order your food than just to wait for an employee or a staff of the restaurant to come.
At least we know where the machine has been before. It has been there, and I just can clean my hands. I don't know exactly where the lady was before.
I think the key word here is natural, and this already answers a servant question. The most natural, one of the most natural interfaces that we have is touch. Okay, we can try to use gadgets to interact, like a keyboard, like a mouse, but at the end, from an early age, a baby, the first thing that it will try to do is to touch where is interested in.
It really comes naturally.
So it's a natural interface. Touch is a natural interface. I understand the fear that was instillated or created on people to
not particularly on touch,
to
but
not fear, but
touch.
the caution not to touch everywhere nowadays. But as the time goes by, people will come back again and will touch to interact.
They are already. I mean, I have been on stores. Last week, I have been on IKEA store, and there's two ways to pay. Or I go to a queue with a person that will check my things, and I will pay to her. Or I go to the self-service kiosks where it's touchscreens. There are touchscreens. What happens when I went there? Everybody was going to the self-service kiosk because it's faster. They are all running on touchscreens, but nobody cares. Really, what people really care is to get out of the store, pay, and go. They know that the thing they need to do is just clean their hands.
But you can use other things. You could use other things like gestures, waving, shouting. But at the end, it's shouting or talking.
That are starting to appear. I understand.
Those are still technologies under development right now. I don't think they are widely or ready to be widely used in a massified way, especially the voice recognition.
And using voice control on the shopping mall, you need either the sound on the surrounding and you telling, I want to go to store X. People will know where you are going.
You might be able to actually combine different technologies because they might serve different purposes. For example, I can see, and you already see this being used in different scenarios, that the motion sensor can grab the attention of the passerby and then trigger some event on the touchscreen, but then it will be the touchscreen. Because there is no replacement in terms of precision, in terms of usability that can
because the learning curve that you have on touch is completely different from the learning curve for a voice enabled or a gesture enabled interface.
Everybody, even if how the screen reacts. Everybody has an iPad or an iPhone or a smartphone, and everybody knows how it is. Learning a new technology, especially when you are in a public place where everybody is watching you, you don't want to fail.
You have privacy concerns there. Right pointed. Well pointed.
If you are using like voice, for example. I mean, imagine I'm talking to a kiosk and I'm saying, what's the way to go to the next airport? Why everybody needs to know I'm going to the airport. Nobody needs to know that, right? Or trying to use a touch or a touch technology or a technology that substitutes touch that I'm not really sure how it behaves, and I'm gonna fail. it's a shame. People don't like that in
Mm.
when they are in public.
I
Yeah.
really
So
think that touch screens, if the content is correct and if the application is there, then it's really learning curve is almost nothing
yeah.
because you really,
So
if you have something over there and you would
so
just
touch
grab it, it's
touch is
really.
there. The question is, I think overall is the touch is there. Touch is there
Mhm.
forever. Touch is a great natural user interface. People will still use that.
Yeah.
There will be potentially other alternatives that may come as an overlay on top of the touch technology.
But the
uh,
end,
but they aren't the really proven technology that can substitute touch. Until then, we rely on touch,
Yeah,
and the world relies on
other
touch. Yeah,
technologies are completely valid. They
absolutely.
can work side by side with
yeah,
touch. I personally don't believe touch will be replaced as easy
At
as
all.
that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't
So
No.
think so, Joe.
the thing is, and that's one thing that we discussed, is if touch is there as any other no, doorknob or any other thing, what should be the procedures to be careful?
Yeah.
I mean, as any other thing.
If you allow me, I will
Yeah.
answer that
Oh,
one.
great.
So basically, is this cleaning a touchscreen is exactly how Miguel said, cleaning a doorknob, or if you go to a shopping mall, you have the shopping cart, you have to clean your
Yep.
hands. Basic is always disinfect your hands after using a touchscreen. Okay. Another thing that you need to be aware is public spaces or shopping malls now are taking in consideration other methods of cleaning, even the touchscreen. So the touchscreen surface probably is one of the most clean surface that you have now on the outdoor kiosks and tables and everything. Other thing that you need to be aware, if you are doing on your own the disinfection or cleaning, in this case of the touchscreen, there are two methods. So you have the disinfection and cleaning. There are two different procedures. Cleaning is what you do normally in your house, you clean the windows. You are doing a cleaning. Okay, disinfection, you might need to use some specific products for doing that kind of cleaning or disinfection. And we have now on our knowledge base online more detailed information of what kind of products you should use and
Okay.
how the procedure should be done. Actually, I already have this ready here and I'm going to share on the chat
Great.
the link that you can access our knowledge base and
Mhm.
see more detailed information regarding how to clean and how to maintain your touchscreen. Okay.
Okay,
Sounds
good.
good.
That's good.
Okay.
Looks like you prepared well.
Yeah.
That's
Great,
good.
thanks, Peter.
Okay.
So, addressing that point that Isabel was also raising,
Yeah.
can we use any kind of detergent or alcohol-based solution? I think she
It's
got the question
yeah.
answered. Yeah, good. So we are
Mhm.
heading to the last part of this live talk, which is going to be to share with you what we are really seeing in terms of future of touch and also what we are seeing as new use cases. So before we go there,
Mhm.
I would encourage everybody to make questions so that in about 10 minutes we're gonna have a moment to answer
Mhm.
them. Okay. Um, so
Mhm.
this last part, one of the intentions is to share what are we seeing for future. Yeah?
Mhm.
So we definitely are seeing different things in new use cases. There are new places where we are seeing that people will be using touch they will not were using before. New applications on the places like specifically public places. There are new applications where with this pandemic brought solutions and requirements. Nuno has been in direct contact with many customers,
Mhm.
and now all our sales team has been discussing with our clients. And indeed, we are seeing that the conclusion of all this is we are part of the solution,
Yeah,
and we are
indeed.
helping on fixing some problems that the world has or that this pandemic brought to.
I think this was one of those moments in history that you can actually stop to think about what will happen and to revise. And that's one of the reasons we are sitting here today, is actually to discuss a little bit, to share things that we share among ourselves, but to share with everyone and to invite you to pose all the questions that you'll have.
Yep.
There are a lot of things that we already discussed, and we during the conversation we were already pinpointing some of the use cases that we are seeing nowadays. I think that one critical thing is what Vitor was mentioning about the keep the units clean, and if you actually are able to do that and to give evidences, then there is no worries and no concerns about using a touch screen. That's is actually one of the best ways to interact with a brand or with a store. There are definitely some trends that we see in the market that even in this situation of lockdown, we continue to see moving forward. Some of them already were discussed and brought to the conversation by Pedro. For example, the fact that the sizes of the screens are getting larger and larger, and the Pcap solution is one of the best technologies to bring to this. I can easily pinpoint not only the video wall display style that we launched in that can address this, but also the infinity feature of Ultra that allows you to have endless sensors side by side to come up with a huge video wall configuration.
So we're seeing touch video walls growing.
In general, what we see as a trend, and that's even before this, is the fact that there is a push more for big canvas and wider screens, bigger images.
Collaboration,
right?
yeah.
Even inviting more people to interact at the same time. So you'll have like a collaboration setting that you'll have multiple people bringing their own ideas to the equation on the same canvas, on the same display area. But we also see, because of the lockdown, because of all of this, we also see some use cases and some niche uses of the technology that grew significantly. And this is based on the feedback and the orders that we receive from our customers, and also the uses that how are they using our touch sensors in these days. There are a couple of things that we could imagine. For example, we discussed the need to have your hands properly sanitized. I think that this is a requirement that is being brought.
So gel dispensers with touchscreens.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's something
it's something that's mandatory. I would say mandatory to have everywhere on public places.
It's not the cheap gel dispenser, but it's probably for hotels, for public places where it's more high-end, middle high-end,
like restaurants too.
Yeah.
Restaurants too.
Restaurants.
It's a need. It needs to be
not for
there.
sure for the small restaurant that we're seeing someone to put a 32 inches or 27 inches touchscreen, but there are some places where we're seeing that.
There is definitely the need for that and the requirement for that. If you think that you need to offer to your customers the chance to sanitize properly the hands at convenience, and you can use that same moment to actually share some information, doesn't matter if it's only the public health information, you can actually use that opportunity to show some digital signage content to them. So that's one clear use of the technology that we are seeing rising. Queuing systems as well. In some cases, I would say that in many of the countries nowadays, going to a specific store or building, you have you cannot have like full capacity there. So there is a limitation of the amount of people that you can have inside a place. Finding a good way to actually manage all the queuings, it's critical and it's important. So that's one niche that we are seeing.
I can give here another idea, which is you have the queuing kiosk with the sanitizer integrated on it, and you will have your queue number if you sanitize first.
Yeah, makes sense.
Or for example, see if you have the mask. For example,
or with image recognition.
So we can merge
that's a combination of several technologies.
Exactly what we were talking, merging different technologies with touch.
Exactly.
So you will enable touch if you sanitize your hands first, or if you wear your mask.
If you are wearing a mask, then you are allowed to go inside the building and all of those things.
On restaurants and queuing, quick service, are we seeing demand growing there?
then
Quick service, like McDonald's kind of
like
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, because it's again the example that you were saying. It's you're using the example of kiosk to pay, so a automatic payment system that you are not forced to be in line just waiting for your time to go and interact with the staff from the store. Here it's exactly the same. So you don't really need to be in line waiting with the guy on your back or in front and interacting with the staff at the restaurant at
That's
McDonald's.
probably where I mean, for what we have been seeing, the self-service
Yeah.
ordering kiosks are indeed one of the most most biggest product demand
Yeah.
we are seeing in
A
this
big
last weeks.
Mhm. A
Yeah.
big push on that. A big push. Also, some other examples are self-check-in and self-checkout
Yeah.
systems.
Awesome.
Also within with the possibility, for example, for public buildings and also hospitalities on
And
hotels.
why is this? Because people really want to. They prefer, is what we're seeing from our customers. They prefer to use a machine
Mhm.
than to go to someone to have a talk with.
Yeah.
Indeed, what this time brought also was a digitalization of everything.
Yeah.
Digital, and this is part of the digitalization that we
Mhm.
are going through, and we are part of this.
Yeah, it's allowing people to do their stuff without having to actually engage with human interaction and
that's
in
probably
an
on the
easier
movies.
way to do it.
That is something on the movies that we go somewhere and without interacting with no one, and we do our job probably or our flow much faster and easier. Yeah, this doesn't change quickly or dramatically, but definitely in the last months
Yeah, but
has been
another thing
growing.
that forced people to learn using technology was the lockdown and people being home with their children,
Mhm.
teaching them how to use or helping them use technology also was a learning curve for the older people and people that were not
Oh,
used to
definitely,
using
yeah.
it. So this will also benefit. People will start even more using touch because of that.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the points that and just before going there, it's for example one other small thing that we are seeing on this kind of kiosks. It's vending a push for vending machines.
Vending machines also, yeah.
In general, but also on a specific cases that you can dispense alcohol gel and you can dispense also
Masks.
some masks.
Yeah.
Imagine, for example, and this is being used, I can see it on public transportation, that if you don't have your mask, you are not allowed to go inside. So you'll have this kind of
Yeah,
kiosks
we have
being used on these
vending
scenarios.
machines. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're seeing demand indeed in the last weeks growing on the quick service
Yep.
restaurants and some others on the signage.
Yep.
But we also seeing and demand in work at office collaboration, aren't we?
Yeah, and the bridge that I would use, it was exactly what Vitor was mentioning, because that's actually a bridge to a different use of the touch of Pcap technology. It's not the digital signage, but it's in work and collaboration settings, and you can be, because of the fact that you'll have. And now we are not in lockdown, so we have, but we still have in many places an hybrid situation that you will have guys working at the office and guys working at home.
Yeah.
There is a greater demand for collaboration settings, like a conference room, that you have the need to have people inside the room and you interact with the content on the display, and at the same time engaging with the guys that you have that are working at home office.
Yes.
And I think that the same it's true in terms of push for what will happen on schools.
I think
homeschooling and
I think the current world situation made lots of corporations realize that remote work makes a lot of sense in certain circumstances.
And for sure, it will open a different market for touch.
Yeah,
for home.
And lots of them will search for collaborative systems. Like
in the office,
all-in-one systems and in the office first, so they can remotely collaborate with the remote workers.
And then when they see the advantage of in the office, they will want that at home. For a natural.
In time, it will spread across the
we are
mass
seeing
public.
We are seeing, and we are using also here large touchscreens to interact, to take notes. We have been Desplex ourselves, we have taken the priority was that when in the office, do collaboration between people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is for sure what every other companies are doing. Is
Mhm.
if you are in the office, do the collaboration, because at home or individual work you probably can do at home.
Of course.
Yep.
So this collaboration and devices like touchscreens with markers and pens, and where you can take notes,
Exactly.
and large touchscreens where you can interact and take decisions live, are indeed part of the solution also for this, because we can be faster. It's much more objective. We all have been using it, and we are seeing the benefit.
Yeah.
We are seeing also customers asking for this, and we see that this will start in the office. This is starting in the office, and some of us already wanting this at home for
Mhm.
collaboration. So we imagining what devices with cameras, far field microphones, large 4K displays with
With touch and
Pcap,
marker or pen
touch
Marker.
and
enabled.
marker, where
Yeah.
I can collaborate.
Yeah.
I can plug my computer, also work from there, in a different way of working, and a collaboration done remotely. So the office environment is changing, either in the collaboration. Also, another thing we are seeing is for some of our clients are not coming or not easily traveling. Yeah?
Mhm.
So what we're seeing is it's important that showrooms have touchscreen devices, so we can, and camera devices and microphones, so I can do my Zoom meetings, show them the products, have the specs at hand, take notes, share my screen, everything like upstand, and walking through the showrooms and interacting naturally, right?
Mhm.
So the in one part we're seeing bigger demand in the signage
Yep.
for the problems that the world is facing, home office and work, and definitely the next wave will be home collaboration. No, oh,
Great.
I
I
really think so.
imagine my kids with a screen in front on Teams doing collaboration with a teacher.
I really think that this is just a matter of time because
I believe too.
it's coming, and I really
Yeah.
think that
I believe
it will
too.
come
Even
fast.
for
We
smaller
see it in
children,
China already.
yeah, they are starting
So we
doing
see
that.
They are
we see the
starting with
demand.
us.
The challenges that are out there are being tackled and are being taken care. We are talking about the markers. You are talking about the bigger screens. All of that is coming into place. So I really think that's just a matter of time
Yeah,
that we will see this
I
being
agree.
used often in even in home environments. Okay.
Good.
Mhm.
I think this is the objective of this
Mhm.
was to kick off this discussion, to go now for the
Questions.
questions, and there are
Mhm.
already some questions
Yeah.
that we have.
Yes.
The scheme that we were going through is that we introduced, and then we were going to look on the questions. So we already have here some of them. Maybe starting on Anna, we kind of
Yeah, Pedro, maybe you can.
we kind of answered already, but maybe we could go more directly now, Pedro.
Yeah, again,
Probably.
I think touch as a natural interface
We might.
won't be uh,
Pedro, let's
surpassed.
just
Oh,
say which
maybe the question.
question we are answering. Okay, let's
Oh,
just say
from
what
in a
question we're.
servant.
So I will
Okay, okay. Sorry for
ahead and
that.
answer.
Okay.
First redirect question.
So the first one about is from in a servant. So she's not sure if air touchless technology is good to talk about or not. If it's one option to avoid physical
Mm.
contact while interacting,
Yeah.
like voice recognition.
I
If
think
we have
the
this
question,
technology, we don't have this technology, of course.
we have a better one.
We're not closed for any technology. On the contrary, we are always available to check on new technologies
I
or
would say that
on emerging technologies.
if there was something better than the touch technology to do what we are doing,
But
we
Sure.
probably have been investing on that.
But I even- I-
Or why not use it to complement our actual technology?
Uh,
So we're always
in-
open for possibilities.
in my
But I-
perspective, air technology, so touchless technology, probably what Anna is asking is
Yeah,
gesture kind of technology.
sure.
Uh, we already looked on this several years ago, and we are tracking every year what's happening on this.
Mhm.
What happens is just a technology or air touch technology is not really precise, is not really as touching on this button. So the interface needs to be completely adapted. I'm not imagining that McDonald's would use something like
Again,
this, but I would imagine this in an experience kind of environment. And maybe if this technology comes up to be really precise, it will be one layer more on the for people to interact.
I think that there are some of these technologies that are related on with the movements, and those are don't really see them scale, because you can have like a kind of cool effect and everything, but it's not for everyone to use it.
And-
there is a learning, and it's not.
Learning
But
curves.
And the learning curve is higher.
and the air touchless technology, if I'm not mistaken, might be that one that you actually don't really touch the glass, but you just hover up on top of it. And
Well, hoovering also
Mhm.
we have
Hoovering,
tested.
we
we have
tested.
also tested, and I think that one of the things
That's
that
a tricky thing especially on large formats.
Mhm. But I remember if we would push our technology in terms of strength, we would be able to actually
Well,
grab the touch without touching it. But
if
it's
we all remember, we have tried already.
yeah,
Our
yeah.
touch technology
Okay.
also does hover. Yeah.
Okay.
So
We can do that.
But
when this started, we were going back to the lab and try Hoover technology. What happens is that people at the end they touch
Yeah.
because it's what they were using always. So even if we have the ability to do Hoover, people will go and touch.
That shows
Yeah.
what we talked before about the learning curve of
Yeah,
each
yeah.
technology.
and actually you are expecting to do that when you actually have physically touching the
Yeah,
glass.
it's
You
different.
expect it to react
Because
and
you are
not
doing the
before.
hoovering
So
and
again,
you are waiting
it's-
for the interaction, and then
I
you
think
are,
they
oh,
can
this is faster
complement.
touching.
They can be complementary, but not to replace one by the other.
It's and we want to be well understood. Not that
course.
we reject other technologies.
Not at all.
Yeah, we really think that what we think is technologies, if they are good, they can come and scalable and cost effective and working well. They can really come and complement existing technologies.
Sure, we have done it in the past. So
When touch came, it didn't kill the keyboard. It didn't kill the mouse. It didn't kill other
It's
technologies.
just another way
It's
of
just
interacting.
one
Yeah.
new way that is really powerful and effective to do my job, to access the information I want.
it's all about contacts.
Yeah. For example, voice recognition is something really good nowadays.
Mhm. Yeah.
But as a specific use case, I would not use in a kiosk at the mall, but I would
Or
use it on
especially
the car.
outdoor,
Yeah,
next to a
or
road,
at home.
with the noise of the cars. It's very hard to interact with voice control.
Vitor, you are the master in voice control.
Yeah.
You really test everything on voice.
Yeah,
Would you think that voice could be used for our
outdoor,
market?
never. Even in our houses, sometimes, depending on the way or depending on the language you are using, voice control on the systems we have, they most of the times don't understand very well what we are saying, and people get frustrated. I see my wife getting frustrated constantly with Google Home saying, I didn't say this, I said this. So this will happen also on the outdoor, and people will get frustrated
Yeah.
using the units.
No.
So
Imagine I want a Big
don't
Mac
believe it.
and the guy gives me a Sunday.
yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Even
Is
for
your coffee
paying,
Two
cold?
Big Macs.
will people pay? How? Okay, contactless, okay, but they need some interaction to be safer doing that.
Good. So maybe going forward,
Yeah.
do you have a? Oh, we have a question here from. Okay, in this COVID-19 pandemic, everyone is taking precautions for touch here and there. Great, yeah. Due to this, instead of touch, this Flux team, why not develop different technology? Well, we still believe a lot in touch.
I think we already answered that.
Yeah.
Sure. No, but it's important maybe to say something also is if we really have seen that there was something better than touch for now, we would probably have looked more deeply on this.
Sure.
Because we believe a lot in touch, but we all also have a ongoing work in progress. We are always looking on the front. We never stop. So we are always looking if there's something better. So for now, what we see is touch. There's still a long way to go, and there's still a lot on explore.
What you want to say is that we are a bunch of nerds that are always looking for different kinds of technologies, looking further.
We like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but at the same
But
at
we
the
like
same
that.
time,
But it's true.
we make our analysis considering that whatever we might develop, it should be applicable to the most the broader scenarios as
To
possible.
masses, yeah.
I think it's important that we are really not closed in a room, and we are always. And I think that one of the things that the company always was able to do very well. It was to listen to the market and not just stay stuck with what we have developed, and that's really important.
Yeah.
And that's what we always do every day. And
If
this
there's
is just
a
an
new
example.
trend, we will look to that. If there's something that we can put on top of our technology existing, we will look on that, and we'll.
Yeah.
So that's something that we will do if it comes up something. I can tell one thing regarding the gesture. Displex in the beginning of all, even before Pcap, was had a gesture technology. That was the first of all. I remember that we did gesture technology with big cameras laying around the screen to understand where my finger was, and it's I can tell it's uncomparable the quality of touch that we can have with a capacitive film to a gesture.
And the setup
It's different
process
use cases.
Totally
Yeah,
different.
totally
Camera
different.
calibration
Yeah.
constantly needing to be done.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work
It's
and
not a
maintenance.
scalable production. So, do you have Clement asks, do you have an antimicrobial touchscreen product so that the surface doesn't need to be disinfected as it is self-disinfected? Well, there's a lot going on this subject. There are people looking on antimicrobial glass, antimicrobial films, but as you're saying, it's antimicrobial. It's not antibacterial. It's it
Antivirus.
depends.
And in this case, antiviral.
Antiviral. So it's so much things that we have looked on this. What we found is there's not really something proven scientifically that can kill this COVID-19. So what happens if we start selling something or start offering something that is really not proven? It does make sense. We not feel confident. We have to have facts well proven scientifically to really do something with it. Until then, what is really scalable and what we're seeing is apply water, clean with detergent and disinfection products, and that is worldwide available, cheaply available, so that works.
And there are some products that you even can use and they will last longer on the touchscreen. They will maintain the touchscreen longer cleaned.
And some of these products also are not cost effective.
No.
So they add a lot of cost. And probably you will need to replace the existing ones.
Usually antibacterial coating on the glass or antibacterial layers that you might put in front of the glass, they will wear out. So they won't last definitely.
And optically affects.
It will affect optically. That was one of the reasons that we.
Yeah, I never forget what one of the
haven't endorsed any, but
one of the LCD manufacturers that told us some years ago regarding the optical transmission is you don't imagine, and their statement was you don't imagine that we invest billions of dollars to have sharp displays and then you're gonna put something on in the front that takes that brightness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's a
you
big
don't
concern.
want to end up with some coatings that that removes those visibility and crisp images. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for now we don't have. We really recommend the traditional
Mhm.
approach. We use touchscreens in our labs. Question from Roel. I want students to use touchscreen gloves, not latex, but cloth. Do you have any ideas on about that? You came to the right place, Roel. Why is this?
Well, because as it is a projected capacitive technology, so it will project the sensing signal, let's say,
They
and
can use.
And they can
as
use.
long as the material is non-conductive, and if you're talking about a glove thickness like a 1 millimeter or so, for sure you will detect it. So you can use gloves, latex, cloth
Yes, you can.
gloves,
We have
as long
customers
as they
using
are
this.
not conductive.
Just imagine the scenario. If
Even
you
if they are
are in,
conductive, you can use
if
it.
you are in
fact,
Alaska and you are using an outdoor kiosk, you are using the touchscreen with gloves.
Yeah.
And we have customers using that constantly. So
Yeah, our touchscreens are in an outdoor environment. If people arrives with their cloth gloves, it will just work.
Yeah.
Our touchscreen also works with on outdoor with rain or temperature differences. We are ready for that, so it can be used in our lab role. Great. What's the next question from Dleep? In those days, what kind of opportunities and challenges we'll look for? I hope we have been clear on this, on the new use cases, but I would summarize as queuing, on quick service restaurants, self-ordering kiosks, and anything regarding self-ordering or take care of yourself,
sanitizers, to clean,
sanitizers,
yeah.
and so on. In what are the differences between projected capacitive and in-glass technologies? So in-glass is a particular
implementation
of one manufacturer.
Of the sensor.
Projected capacitive is available through several manufacturers, which we hope to be the best. And we definitely do a lot to that. So projected capacitive is a flat front glass, while in-glass also can be a flat front glass, but typically is not. Their technology uses cameras.
No.
Sorry.
Projected capacitive is the technology.
You are the right guy to
the in-glass. Sorry
Yeah.
for that. The projected capacitive is the technology to enable the sensor. That sensor
Light
can
image.
be, the sensor can be in glass, can be on glass, can be on sheet, so
but
on
Eric
film.
is comparing
Okay.
this box against
So,
Flatfrog.
In-glass technology.
Sure. This Plex uses on film sensor.
Yeah.
Okay. Others use in glass or even on glass. What's the difference here? Especially in glass and on glass are well tied to the display, because the sensor must be manufactured at the same time as the display. Okay. In our case, you can make the sensor independently from the display. Okay. And you can apply it later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the differences also on the in-glass technology is a little bit more complex to integrate, and the glass itself has to be a specific kind of glass for the light transmission it has.
Yeah.
So it's not camera based, as I said. It's light based. They use light waves.
Optic technology.
Yeah, optically, it's a variation of a
variation
technology.
of the optic, and the challenge here is really the glass, and the glass really needs to have specific
requirements.
Requirements. In our case, we can have any kind of glass, and in terms of sizes, we can really cope with from 20 inches up to 115 inches easily. We can customize just one unit. That's some difference we have. And in terms of technology, also is as it's more available through several manufacturers, the projected capacitive, you can have a more cost-effective solution. So what do you think about the antimicrobial coatings on the cover of glass or by cleaning by UV? I think we answered already on this. So, but just rephrasing is, we really don't believe much on the coatings and the antibacterial things before they really get proven. Indeed, also the cleaning by UV, that was something that we also discussed in here.
Yep.
Indeed, sun, as it, Pedro, you could help me on this, on the cleaning by UV, because the sun has already good properties on killing.
We also made some research on that,
this, yeah.
The conclusion we came up with was either you have a very strong UV light inciting directly on the sensor to effectively sanitize it, or you needed a lot of time with the sensor being exposed to UV light.
Just to keep it clean.
Just to keep it clean. Okay.
I think
so. What are the drawbacks on each possibility? If you have a stronger UV light, then you will have some hazardous situations regarding safety. Okay, so your skin being exposed to UV light, you might burn the skin at the least. If you use a moderate or lower exposition or wattage on the UV light, you need more time. Then you need to disable the unit for a longer time.
I think that there is important. I think that everyone is trying to find a shortcut to have the units properly sanitized and every time. I really think that it's as to Miguel's point, we need to be careful with the claims that we do, because the last thing we want to make is a claim that's not proven scientifically, and it doesn't give, it gives a false sense of security, which doesn't work. That's not the purpose. And that's also important for everyone out there to be conscious that what they need the step that they need to take. And it's the same thing again, sanitize your hands, clean it, and keep the units clean, and use the things that you have.
Do with this what you do in your other part of your life.
It's exactly.
Because it's no different. Touching on a touchscreen is the same as touching on a doorknob, touching on a shopping cart, on anything. I mean, really, honestly, I feel myself more worried when I go to a supermarket than have to take a shopping cart where tons of people have been there, and I'm gonna be touching on it during maybe half an hour. So what I do is just use gel and clean it.
So,
but I do it that.
I think the bottom question is it effective having a UV cleaning system or antibacterial coating versus cleaning and sanitizing education on people? I think it's more effective if people are self-aware of their sanitizing needs.
And I think nowadays most people will always clean their hands anyway.
Pseudo system.
Going to the point. Cleaning by UV, does it help? UV itself, does it help anything outside?
At the end, it depends on the risks that you want to incur on the system that you implement.
Not a bulletproof thing, right?
No, and it's not an all-in-one solution. You know, it should be designed for
but
each
one thing
implementation.
That our touch technology enables is that you can clean it easily with water.
Sure.
And
that's the easiest.
Put a water gun, point it to the unit, and clean it, because you can with our touch.
It always has been one of the benefits to have it in the public places that you can easily clean and maintain. Even the cleaning lady can just quite easily
Another question we have in here is, do you feel that mobile applications will replace touchscreens? Well, I think mobile apps are great use. We unfortunately use too much our mobile phone. I think we all feel that. Definitely they are a good solution. I think they can be complementary to touchscreens. Touchscreens are not just a touchscreen; they are also a display. They are also sharing. There are several things. I cannot share things that in this room, for example, with just a mobile phone. If I doing a meeting with us, a big touch display will be a value, will be adding value for the meeting. So in a public place, mobile phones are great. They are.
Sure.
Indeed, they are. But they are not a replacement. Otherwise, for example, I would imagine that if they are a complete replacement, McDonald's will start
Would
using that
replace
massively,
them their
and
systems. Yeah.
many others. And what we see is not all the people are the same. Some people will want a mobile phone, some people will want a kiosk, some people want a person, some people want a to mail or a website. What typically brands are doing and what we're seeing is they have different roads or different doors for people to access through mobile apps, through kiosks, through web, through several.
If you
So,
Yep.
for example, Domino's Pizza is a good example. You can order online, you can order at the kiosk, you can order by phone, you have so many choices. What really matters is that you
That
make
you
the
order.
order.
You have another example. For years that you already have shopping malls, for instance, with kiosks, with pathfinders on it. At the same time, they have their own applications for mobile. And my personal experience is I knew that particular mall had an application, but I preferred to go directly to the kiosk than to download the app
Yeah.
and install it. And
People
so
only download apps where they go
if they
regularly to
plan,
some
if they
place.
plan
Yeah.
with
I think
And if you
plenty
go
of
there
time, yeah,
so frequently that it's worth having the app on your phone. I think
yeah,
one of the trends is that people have fewer apps. At least
yeah,
what I'm seeing.
indeed. But
And if you have
yeah.
less apps, you will rely on other devices also.
But I really think that this is a good example of combining different kinds of
I think
technology and
so.
different
Yeah.
contexts, and this will be a good example
Yeah,
of that.
this is like an alternative to a touch technology that complements also the touch
Exactly.
technology.
sure.
Yeah,
Doesn't replace.
reliable, scalable,
Yeah.
and that can really grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't kill touch.
No.
It's
No,
just one more layer. Yeah,
they complement each
and
other.
people have different technology layers in their
Yeah.
life to access and
Even people have some constraints about privacy. They don't want to install different applications. They don't know what.
being tracked on their
Yeah,
device.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like Nuno said. It's another thing to complement with the
Well,
touch.
Yeah, we'll
in
combine
a
it.
kiosk, at least that's anonymous. That the
Yeah,
search you're doing.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
We have another question here in the chat that not on the questions
Okay.
from Arturo. Can we have a resume of the main topics of this meeting in order to analyze it and to have more, so we can have more information?
Well, we're gonna share this on YouTube. I think it's being shared on Facebook Live or no? No, but we will have this on a YouTube so you can revisit, and we're gonna send the link of this. So that's gonna be the way to share this live talk. I think we ending
The questions,
this. Is there any particular note that you guys want to mention?
No?
Is there any particular question that somebody wants to pose before we go? If you want to do it, just send it. I'll try to recap here some notes, unless it comes up some question in the middle. So the resume is touch is there for long term. We're not seeing less demand at all. Indeed, we are seeing more demand because we're seeing that touch is part of the solution that we're going, either for work, either for office, either for public places. And we are seeing, particularly in public places, we are seeing quick service uh, reservations as a increase on demand, also on vending machines. and Pcap is the solution. Particularly this Plex in public has a long track record in being a proven technology. So we rely on what we have been doing, and we still have, as Pedro mentioned, some novelties being cooked in the lab. So hope to bring those novelties soon to the market.
Yeah.
We are always looking to what the market is telling us. That has been always the way we have been guiding the company, is market driven, looking to what customers say, and doing a great service for our customers, so that we are helping them and they help us, and this is a collaboration between the company and our clients. So would like to thank you all for que aconteceu? Que aconteceu? Something happened. Right?
Yep, I'm not sure if you are still. We are still on.
I believe
It was
so.
frozen.
Yeah, something happened. We don't know, but we are here. We're
So
still
guys,
here. Sorry, something
Something
happened.
happened with Zoom.
Maybe Zoom did something, but
eventually.
we were finishing.
Yeah, but again, why Displex chose to use Pcap? Because it's a non-exposed technology. You have no direct contact with it. It's great for outdoor. You have no bezels. You have no exposed technology. You can have great designs with it, using flat surfaces, even curved. You can have lots or form factors as orthogonal, stretched, round, curved,
And
it,
new
and
things
it's
coming, and for sure new things coming.
sure, and it's easier to clean.
Yeah, very easy.
In
It's
the
easier
actual
technology to
context,
clean
I
on
think
this
that's very important.
specific situation of the
So-
COVID. It's the
Yeah.
easiest one to clean.
Pcap is there for a long time, and touchscreens are there for a long time. We are still working on new things, and thank you so much for being with us. And for sure, soon we will come back with a new webinar with something interesting for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you
have
very
a
much.
great day
Thank you,
wherever
guys.
you are in the
Bye-bye.
world, and take care. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
See you.
all.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.